What's up everyone, Darcblade here bringing you a quick patch information video for the patch 1.05 in The Last of Us. Now firstly, I know this video is late and I apologise for it. I mean, the patch was released on Tuesday the 15th of October and it's now later than that, but things have been going on at home and the video's late, so sorry. Anyway, patch 1.05, basically Naughty Dog doubled their efforts, and instead of releasing patch 1.04, they doubled it up to patch 1.05. This also is to go alongside the DLC that has come out. The recent DLC being the Abandoned Territories pack you can buy, that includes new maps. Basically with this patch they've added a few new aspects as well as changed certain gameplay aspects of the game. This mainly focuses on the multiplayer though, rather than the single player. Firstly, they've added the Abandoned Territories map pack DLC. Basically this is the DLC playlist that has been added to each game type. This includes both the retail maps and the DLC maps, but the DLC maps should appear more frequently in the vote when it comes to voting for a level. Also with the Abandoned Territories DLC, they've added 5 new unlock rewards. This is the camo hat, the Dades los Muertos mask or something, I don't know if I pronounced that right, the dragonfly helmet, ski mask and skimmer hat. Now with the gameplay changes, they've fixed an issue where players on the winning team would occasionally get full crafted items or machetes from the caches, whilst players on the losing team would get incorrect items. This has now been fixed and should be more balanced out. Players should no longer get comeback weapons when they are winning by a small margin. These are weapons such as pre-made Molotov cocktails, bombs and purchased weapons. Again, this should make the game more balanced. They've fixed a consistency of comeback weapons spawning as well. There should be less comeback weapons in close matches and more consistent spawning in several unbalanced matches. Now, once a player receives a comeback weapon, they will no longer receive them again until a certain amount of progress has occurred within the match. So you can't get these combat weapons as often as you would be able to previously to this patch. They've changed a bit with the 2x4 spawning logic. Basically the plank of wood has been adjusted in supply raid and interrogation mode. They fixed a bug where it would occasionally be impossible for a player to receive a 2x4 in the game. They've reworked the initial 2x4 spawning logic to make the first spawn a bit later to balance out the escalation of a match. They've also lowered the overall number of potential 2x4s that could spawn in a match by including a weighting based in match progress. Weighting as in how heavy. So I assume this is how heavy, how much equipment you've got on you and stuff. They've also changed a bit with the Brawler survival skill. The additional hit from modded melee weapons has been moved from Brawler level 1 to level 2, and the health gain has been moved from level 2 to level 1, so they basically switched it around. This change isn't too bad, but I didn't see any problem with it in the first place. Anyway, they've also added a system where if you join a match late, then you'll be given additional parts to help bridge the gap between players who have started the match from the very beginning and when you're joining. This should hopefully prevent latecomers from being at a disadvantage to players who have started from the very beginning and who have potentially a lot more parts than they do. This is a very good change and hopefully makes joining a match late less of a hassle than it already was. One of the best changes in my opinion that comes with this patch is that when you join a late match by more than the first 2 minutes, the match will no longer count towards your clan or mission progress. This is very good because I often found myself joining late and thus ruining my clan or my missions that I was on. They fixed some issues with certain levels as well, like on Checkpoint and Lakeside that had locations where items could not be picked up. These are now being fixed. They've made a fix to prevent players from being able to climb the titled flagpole in the high school map. And lastly, they've fixed an issue with the level graphics dropping out on the dam level. These are all cosmetic fixes and I haven't really noticed too much issues with any of these, but fixes are there to balance out the game. Now they've made a few changes with the interrogation mode. Games no longer end in ties unless both teams are in the same section of the unlocking progress. If one team has more interrogations than the other, then that team will win the match. To be honest, I've never really experienced a tie in this sort of game mode anyway. I tend to play supply raid more than interrogation mode. The additional parts bonus for winning by a large margin is only awarded when the lockbox is fully unlocked, otherwise the standard win bonus is awarded. Again, I really haven't noticed too much about this, but obviously that means if you're dominating in interrogation mode, you're going to be getting a lot more points now. The additional parts bonus for winning by a large margin in interrogation mode is only awarded when the lockbox is fully unlocked now, otherwise the standard win bonus is awarded. Kill cards now correctly describes whether your character was executed or interrogated. I don't know which is worse. I think interrogated is worse than executed. The fire on the ground from the Molotov cocktails now damages the players when they're attempting to unlock the lockbox, and will properly interrupt the unlocking progress. This is actually quite a good tactic. If you throw a Molotov cocktail in front of the lockbox, then you can potentially stop the enemy from unlocking it, giving your team a chance to maybe recover a bit. Sounds have been added to the interrogation animation now, which is quite cool. And lastly, with the interrogation mode, they fixed a bug where the end of match music was not playing in interrogation mode. Again, this is mainly cosmetic, but every little bit helps. Now, with the technical fixes that come with this game, the intro speech should no longer occasionally be heard twice at the start of the game, and a flashing exclamation mark will be shown on the DLC options for when new items are added, similar to how it is in Uncharted 3. The very last change comes with a single player, and that is they made a few tweaks to a couple of the art assets in the game. Nothing really special. Nothing more than that. Anyway, that's about it for patch 1.05 and the new DLC. Hope you enjoyed this little video, and I hope you found it informative. Again, I'm sorry for it being a bit late, but until next time, I've been Darcblade. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like for more.